What's something that's not a cult, but feels like a cult? Salesforce. No. I don't want to build a community, go hiking or join 100 online classes to learn the basics. Make a couple of well explained, to the point training videos FFS. Maybe 10 to 12 years ago I went to an alumni event for a friend's college and sat next to a guy who worked for Salesforce. I know this because that's how he introduced himself. When I asked what SF was, because it was the early days, he was visibly shocked and just said, I work for Salesforce. Everybody wants to work for Salesforce. Still not quite sure what it does, despite being surrounded by SF offices. But whenever I see an employee walk around with a SF logoed backpack or hoodie, I whisper everybody wants to work for Salesforce. Beachbody, especially the coaches. The Herbalife organization. They were charged with being a pyramid scheme, but they still operate in a similar way. There are several people I grew up with who became hooked on it, and they definitely act like they're in a cult. I worked with a Herbalife rep, and we got along well until one day we were talking about the gym, and he was giving me tips. The conversation ended up as a sales pitch for me to buy the products he was selling, and I honestly didn't talk to him much after that. I've had to stop talking to a friend because her BF sells CBD through an MLM. She makes a shit ton of money training and selling horses and is a big name in her profession. Why she lets him do this shit, I do not know. Horse people and MLMs go together like stinkin' shit for some reason. It seems like after I hit 40 all my trainer/instructor friends went the MLM route for a side hustle. Some of them are pretty successful trainers. They bring in lots of money, but stables are expensive to run, so especially the ones that put on the successful act with new trucks, fancy rigs, wide Kentucky 4-board fence etc. are always on the brink of financial disaster. Maybe that's why they are so susceptible? I dunno. I see it less with my trail riding. Married rich and has a career. Just has horses as a hobby friends. But the ones trying to make a career out of horses or stay on top in their discipline that don't have a well-off spouse footing the bill? Holy shit. So many MLMs, but especially Mary Kay. I went to a convention once as the guest of a consultant because she was trying to get me to join. It was very Stepford. Also, she didn't tell me you were expected to dress up, so I showed up in jeans and a hoodie. Did they actually tell you in advance it was a convention? My experience with that was when my friend gave me the line and asked me if I'd be willing to be a practice model while someone gave me a makeover. It ended up being an hours-long award ceremony where the women wept over how MK changed their lives and made them successful business people. They thought my eyes watering from all the yawning was tears of joy and tried to recruit me. Never did end up getting my makeover done that night. I snuck out as soon as I could. Not makeover but an insurance scheme thing. This buddy from HS wanted to catch up. We decided to play pool and have a couple of beers. He asked me if I would attend a meeting before we met up. He picked me up and took me there. I knew what was up once we chatted in the car. Still was kind of shady to do it like that. I'm sure they are trained to do it like that, otherwise people wouldn't want to go to the meeting. Edit. Was World Financial Group. The presentation made some sort of sense and I'm sure the products work. I'm just not into it. I have a job. I'm not trying to spend a bunch of my free time on products and services I genuinely don't care about. I have to be passionate about something in order to sell to people, and especially don't like bothering family and friends. Some of us are lambs, some of us are lions. I'm not a lamb. That's essentially what I said to my buddy after we got back into his car to play pool. We hung out a bunch more after that, but then he shortly stopped returning my messages. Was it Primerica? Should I be worried that my Roth IRA is with Primerica? Lol. Nutriboom. Please sign here that you've seen Debbie Stobbelman and find her to be happy, healthy, and alive. X_. Debbie dead. Debbie real dead. The Holy Church of CrossFit. I'm a member of the not quite as well known Church of Orange Ethery. If you ask us about proper rowing technique, we'll all start chanting at you. Legs, core, arms, arms, core, legs. Rowing is 60% leg drive. Power, patience, patience. When I first joined 5 years ago, I came home with my little folder of information and coupons to local businesses, a tote bag, a car magnet, and the heart rate monitor, and said to my husband, "I think I just joined a cult." I like to call it CrossFit Light. It's slightly cultish, but not to CrossFit level. You get stronger, but with way less injury risk that you see in CrossFit. I miss it, but saving so much money with it cost. Some workplaces, the ones that push the "we're all family here" attitude especially. I worked in a place that tried to convince the employees we were a family. They basically meant that they would abuse you and expect you to take it. Because family, they actively discourage current employees from socializing with former employees. If an employee left because he was fired, it was because he was a bad example to the others and had to be excised from the group. If an employee left because he got fed up and quit, it was because he was a bad apple anyway, but they had not legitimate reason to fire him yet. Either way, that former employee is no longer one of us and should be avoided at all costs. One employee was chastised for liking too many of a former employee's FB posts. Close bracket. I was employed by a company exactly like this. He was a photographer with his hands in a lot of other things. He hired young, cute women and tried to convince us all we were family while totally ignoring the fact that we had actual families. When I left, an employee said they had a whole meeting about how terrible I was and they wanted me gone anyway. His online fans think he is just the bee's knees. It drives me insane. This dude emotionally and verbally abused, overworked, and grossly underpaid all of us. Fucking awful. Think it honestly may have given me mild PTSD. Oh man, you're giving me flashbacks. Old boss was extremely popular with clients, but he followed the same ideals your boss had. We had a very small staff of 4, and quitting time was 5 o'clock. However, he always took another 10 to 15 minutes to close up the office. Since he was the manager, the other staff were expected to just sit around and wait for him to finish off the clock, of course, so we could all walk to the station together. Course family. The kicker was that his place was about 5 minutes from the office by train, and the rest of ours were at least 30 minutes away. It's a power play. I didn't personally experience it, but my dad's office has this. No one is allowed to leave until the boss leaves, and it's normally very late, since boss is a workaholic. Essential oils. We get it. You're a single mom and you want to work from home. But damn, you guys sure drank the Kool-Aid. No. It's a drink made with lemon essential oil to cleanse my liver, lavender oil which I use in place of my anti-anxiety meds, and just a little bit of grapefruit oil because it's just so good and I'm quirky like that. /s please never ever ingest essential oils ever. Call me Kevin's subscribers. It's not a cult. I promise. Millimeters yes, definitely not the cult of Jimpagans. Aha yes, definitely not a cult. I don't know why anyone would think that. Praise Jim. He is our leader. I just went through at least 2 top replies and shocked Burning Man isn't listed. Your burners are fucking weird. Source. I was /am one who has critical thoughts about how things work yet have found ideas are only cool if you're popular. This is fascinating. I've wanted to go for a long time for the music and art, but could not stand the vibe people got about it who went. I remember friends going and suddenly totally changing their friend groups, and a friend saying he's cool, he's a burner. It's really sad to me though. I'm a lover of less commercial electronic music and would love to see the amazing art and cars, but I feel like I'd find the burners the most exhausting aspect. Only really because they preach being yourself and yet they all kind of look/act the same. I love the event, but fuck do I hate people whose whole personality is being a burner. I never join a theme camp. I camp out by 8 and K usually with just one other person in my group, and I mostly go out at night alone to see the lit up art. Occasionally I'll swing by a giant theme camp, but otherwise I just wander through smaller camps and drink at random bars where I like the people. I've had really good luck overall with meeting good people, so I definitely recommend going, but just do your own thing and avoid the plug and play and large theme camp types. Curly girl method groups. Flatiron, jail. Hair dye, jail. Sulfates, you right to jail. Silicones, right to jail. Right away. No deep conditioning, believe it or not. Jail. We have the best hair in the world because of jail. Wash it too often. Right to jail. Wash not enough. Believe it or not. Also jail. Edit. We have special jail for people who pay to buy Reddit awards. You don't co-wash. Super jail. Peloton. Seriously. My dad hasn't stopped talking about his since getting it a year ago and went so far as to buy me one for Christmas this year, which is super generous and my fat ass will totally benefit, but feels like I'm being indoctrinated into something. The instructors are really intense and say culty things. I think the idea is to physically torture you to the point that you don't notice you're being programmed to spread Peloton gospel to anyone who will listen. I've been so bored that joining a cult where I get hotter sounds okay though. My mom and I got bikes this year. I love it. And I love the community. But yeah, it's totally a cult. CrossFit. A friend of mine does CrossFit, and I made the mistake of saying I'm glad you found something that works for you. Got a tirade of why it works for everyone. Has he told you that he does CrossFit today? Let me tell you about my WOD and why you really need to go paleo. Apostrophe. I physically recoiled when I read this. One of my co-workers is a CrossFitter and he says exactly this crap all the time. Interestingly, though, he's also a young earth creationist who thinks the earth is only 6,000 years old. Like, dude, how can you believe in a paleo diet when you don't even believe that the Paleolithic era ever happened? Forced school songs that talk about being a part of the school forever. School spirit. I can understand it for university, but not for high school or below, which I didn't have a choice in attending. I went there because it was the school I ended up being sent to, ergo I should be proud of it. I don't get it. I mean, it's the same thing of being born somewhere and being proud of it. I love my city of Milwaukee, but it's not like I had much of a choice. Working for a non-profit. They tend to refer to employees as a family working for a cause, which wouldn't be culty on its own, but they definitely use it to manipulate employees to work themselves half to death and set a culture where boundaries are thought of as not being invested in the mission. They also use your passion for the mission to justify working you harder / paying you less. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love my job and what I get to do, but I'm old enough to see what's been done to me over the years. The rotating door of young employees who are worked to burn out and replaced though, I feel bad for. It's a hard lesson to learn. Edit. Wow. Thank you all for the genuinely kind comments, feedback and commiseration. I had no idea this comment would resonate with so many people. I truly appreciate that you took the time to share your stories with me. Got told we weren't paid a lot because we were doing something we were passionate about. I was one of those that had no boundaries and burned out. Getting my masters to become a NP manager and help stop the burnout culture madness. I'm not really that passionate about what we do. Can I have a raise? Apostrophe. This. I totally get how they managed to wrap this up, but that's such an shitty argument. Hey, let's make a deal. Money for work. But just if you don't like it. UHH, and if you don't like it, we won't take you. So basically you owe us work, but won't get paid much, and PLS overwork yourself. Thanks. Eating disorders and any pro-eating disorder sites. Those who have an eating disorder often view their disorder as their best friend, giving them names like Anna and Maya. And then there are those sites to make it worse. They treat eating disorders like they are sacred and often post rules in a cultish way. One site I used to visit in my dark days even had the 10 commandments of Anna now. If that doesn't sound cultish, IDK, what does? Don't even make me start about the weightless coaches on there. Edit. I'm glad to read the stories of everyone here who overcame their eating disorder. I'm proud of you. It's a hard journey at any point. I hope that many more people will recover from that disorder. That's why I'm glad that people are here to spread awareness. Thank you. This shit tricked me into it when I was younger. After being called fat for years, which like I was maybe a bit chubby, but I have doctor's visits each month because of chronic illness, and I was always at a normal healthy weight. But anyway, I was like, I'm going to start high school and I don't need that shit again. So I looked up how to lose weight quickly and ended up on a pro-Anna site. It had a forum where people could chat and share experiences, and also motivational letters from Anna and Maya. Well, a lonely, insecure girl at the start of puberty. You can imagine what happened. I'm a healthy, in regards to weight, adult now and still have bad days where I can barely eat. Those sites really fucked me up. Geez, that must have been scary. I'm sorry. If you are new to Tattletale TV, please subscribe. We have new videos every day. Stay tuned for more coming up next.